Hey guys, Zach Mead here at North Church again. I wanted to take a moment and talk about performance versus worship. These are two things that really don't have to be totally separate when we're talking about leading people on stage Sunday mornings. They really can coincide. We need both of them, and we need to be intentional about both of them. So let me take a moment and define performance first, because that word really does have a bit of a negative connotation when we're talking about being a worshiper. But for me, performance means being intentional. It means being intentional about what we do, our demeanor on stage, our stage presence, because everything that we do on stage conveys a message to our congregation. Now, performance can also be a negative thing. Anytime someone is trying to bring attention to themselves, they are performing in more of a term that we're used to hearing. They're trying to get everybody to see them. We might think about Justin Bieber or Justin Timberlake. Those guys, when they perform, it's all about everybody looking at them. But for us, what I like to think about is the supporting cast in a movie, in the background of the scene. You have in the forefront the main lead actor. And for us, the lead actor is God. And we are the supporting cast in the background that may go unnoticed if we do our job really well. We should be pointing people towards God and not pointing people towards ourselves. And so when I talk about performance, I'm talking about being very intentional with what we do on stage in order to point people towards God and not pointing people towards ourselves. Now that other part, worship, is also very important on stage. We need to be authentic with our worship, and we need to come and really worship Jesus, and that should be our first task as worship leaders and musicians on stage. We need a healthy balance of both. Stage presence may mean engaging with the congregation a little bit more than we normally do. It may mean having bigger expressions. It may mean smiling or clapping or exhorting the church. One thing we should be asking ourselves is, where are we leading people on Sunday mornings? We should also be asking, what is the message that we are trying to convey in the song that we are singing? If the song is trying to convey a message of joy or repentance or intimacy with God, what is our demeanor in that song? Is it conveying that message, or is it conveying a different message? For us here at North Church too, being intentional means that we are memorizing our music so that we can engage our congregation and so that we can engage with the band members on stage as well. Being intentional with our performance also means being intentional with our dress on Sunday mornings, because how we dress can unintentionally display a message, sometimes the wrong message. So we ask females to be very intentional with how they're dressing, to be modest in how they dress in certain areas, and we also ask men to dress in a way that they're dressing up a little bit sometimes. And ultimately, we're doing this not to be legalistic, but we're doing this so that we don't point people to ourselves, like we had talked about earlier. The goal is to have people pointed towards God. On the other side of the coin, worship. We should be worshipers on stage, and worshiping should be an overflow of what we are already doing midweek in our daily lives with Jesus. Worship should be authentic, and it should come from our hearts, and it should really ultimately mean we are being ourselves on stage. And we should be asking ourselves the question, how am I supposed to lead someone where I have never been? How am I supposed to help someone worship in a way that I cannot worship myself? So we have to be diligent about being worshipers midweek and not just on Sunday morning. So to sum things up, we need a healthy balance of performance and we need a healthy balance of worship. We need to be intentional about our performance, and we need to be authentic in our worship.